Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines we're tracking for you this evening. The Sensex and the Nifty end with minor cuts after hitting another record high in early trade. The mid-cap index also snapped an 11-day winning streak. Veteran investor Mark Mobius says he remains a big bull on India, but adds he's yet to see a big shift in flows from China to India. Says India needs to expand its market with more equity offerings and IPOs to attract global investors. That's an exclusive. The government's bad bank takes over almost 50% of the NPA accounts identified under Phase 1 from banks. Aims to acquire over 83% or 1.68 lakh crore rupees worth of stressed accounts by the end of FY25. The compensation for CEOs is booming in India. Deloitte survey highlights a 40% hike in average CEO salaries in the last 4 years. Average compensation now stands close to 14 crore rupees. The salary of promoter CEOs growing faster than professional CEOs. The government's open network for digital commerce clocked 50 million transactions in FY24. Thampi Koshi, the head of ONDC, targets 50 million transactions every month by the end of this financial year. That's an exclusive. Tesla's entry into India will be a natural progression for the electric car company, says Elon Musk. The statement comes amidst reports of a Tesla team arriving in India to scout for locations to set up a manufacturing plant this month. After withdrawing troops from southern Gaza, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says a date has been set for the ground invasion of Rafah. The US and other allies have cautioned Israel against invading the city overcrowded with civilian population. Turkey imposes export restrictions on Israel until a ceasefire is declared. The Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi Alliance announces their seat-sharing arrangement for the upcoming Lok Sabha polls. Shiv Sena UBT will contest 21 of the 48 seats, including 4 of Mumbai's 6 seats. The Congress will contest 17. NCP, Sharad Chandra Pawar have been allocated the remaining 10 seats. All of that is coming up, but let's start with the day's market action. The Sensex and the Nifty did hit record highs in early trade yet again, but then we saw some profit booking in late trade, wiping out those gains. Both the indices closing in the red. The Sensex down by about 58 points, the Nifty lower by 23, so absolutely flat close. Mid-cap index also closing in the red. The Nifty Bank, though, up by about 0.5% or so, closing in positive territory. Today, in fact, the Nifty Mid-Cap 100 snapped that 11-day winning streak that it's been on. Bank stocks, as we pointed out, bucked the trend today. But the big news maker, veteran investor Mark Mobius, says he remains a big bull on India. Mobius expects India to take up the slack in manufacturing with China's economy slowing down. However, he says he's yet to see a big shift in flows from China to India. Mobius added that India needs to expand its market with more IPOs and equity offerings to attract global investors. Take a look.
I've been a big bull on India, but we must take a long-term view. And if you look at the long-term, India looks terrific. It's got the right population structure. Now with China slowing down, India is going to be taking up the slack in terms of manufacturing and exports. So India is in a very good position. There's no question about it.
You've previously given a target that the Sensex is probably going to hit that 1 lakh mark probably in the next 5 years. Leave us with any kind of targets for the Nifty and the Sensex, maybe near term, maybe long term, maybe 3 years, 5 years.
Well, I stick with that target. I think that's going to happen maybe even sooner than I expected. No question. The U.S. market has done very well, but at the end of the day, India is now beginning to outperform the U.S. market, and it makes sense for people to look at India. Now, of course, there's a problem of size. There needs to be more equity offerings in India, more IPOs, and hopefully more government enterprises being listed in the market because, as you know, India has some very large government enterprises that could be listed.
Well, that's Mark Mobius. In a setback for Delhi's Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, the Delhi High Court has rejected his bail plea, upholding the legality of his arrest by the Enforcement Directorate. The court has said arrest was legal and so was his remand to the ED. Ashmit joins us now with more. Ashmit, it's been a long wait for the judgment, which was reserved, has been delivered today. So no relief for Arvind Kejriwal. The court dismissing his plea. Take us through the arguments made in the order.
Well, the Delhi High Court, the order was dictated for a duration of about 30 odd minutes. The meat of the judgment essentially is that the application by Kejriwal, which had challenged the arrest, has been dismissed, has been rejected. There is no case made out for the arrest being called illegal or for the remand being called illegal. That's the broad takeaway. But in terms of dissecting what the order dictates, well, the order went on to say that, number one, that the court will not be swayed by the political consideration of the stakeholders involved here. In fact, the Delhi High Court observed that there is not a dispute between the centre and the Delhi government, rather between the Enforcement Directorate and an alleged accused person. Further, going on to say that the argument that Kejriwal has made that this arrest timing was done in a manner to humiliate him, to disable him, to affect the upcoming Lok Sabha elections is also not tenable here. The Delhi High Court ruled that had he been arrested earlier in October, this excuse would not have been available to him, but it's rather Kejriwal who, by denying those summons, who by refusing those summons, had delayed this entire process and not the Enforcement Directorate. Also, the Delhi High Court holds that the argument that has been forwarded by Kejriwal's counsels, that the statements that have been issued by approvers is in fact not credible. That is something that the High Court has taken objection to, that these statements have been recorded not by the Enforcement Directorate but by magistrates, and that to raise questions about the credibility of these statements would then be casting aspersions on the judicial process itself. So on that count, the Delhi High Court now dismissing Kejriwal's application. The way forward is, and Kejriwal's counsels were present in court, what they asked the High Court was that when this order will be uploaded, the High Court order is expected to go online by later today. The appeal, we understand, will lie before the Apex Court. So the action now shifts from the Delhi High Court to the top court. Back to you.
All right, Ashmit. So next up for Arvind Kejriwal, the Supreme Court, the Delhi High Court ruling against his bail petition. Now, crude oil prices continue to inch higher, with Brent crude nearing $91 mark. Prices did cool off after Israel decided to withdraw most of its troops from southern Gaza, but fresh statements from Israel's Prime Minister saying that a date has been set for the invasion of Rafah has clearly weighed on sentiment. Talks to clinch a ceasefire deal are still underway in Cairo, but Hamas spokesperson said that fresh threat from Netanyahu could derail negotiations that are currently underway. Back home, the government's bad bank has taken over almost 50% of the NPA accounts identified under Phase 1 from banks. A government official told CNBC-TV18 the National Asset Reconstruction Company, known as the Bad Bank, aims to acquire over 83% of the identified stressed assets by the end of FY25. Sapna standing by now with more details. Sapna, give us a status check of where things stand with the Bad Bank.
Well, we are given to understand that around 93,000 crores worth of NPAs has already been acquired by the NARCL, or the Bad Bank, so to speak, as of March 31, FY24 that has just ended, and this will be covering around 18 stressed accounts. We are also given to understand that in the current financial year, another big chunk of NPAs worth 76,000 crores is being acquired by the NARCL, and this will be covering around 24 more stressed accounts. So the total tally is going to be a neat sum of around 1.68 lakh crore by the end of the current financial year, covering 42 stressed accounts. So that's quite a bit of action in the last couple of months, because NARCL no doubt got off to a very late start. All of this was supposed to happen, and much more was supposed to happen way back March 2022. We are already in FY25, and it's like kind of trailing the kind of numbers or benchmarks that the government had in mind. But nevertheless, by the end of the current financial year, around 83% of the 2 lakh crore worth of fully provisioned bad loans that NARCL was supposed to acquire, that would be a done deal. And plus also, let's keep in mind that fresh base of NPAs is extremely tapered in the market as of now. So maybe by the end of the financial year, if all is well, NPAs is not going to be such a big and bad word. And if NARCL continues with its act together, then maybe all of this over the next 1 or 2 odd years will be a thing of the past, in the sense the numbers are not going to be really bad, at least for the next 2 to 3 odd years. This is the sense we get from government.
Sapna, many thanks for joining us. Over 3 crore shares of Axis Bank worth over $430 million have changed hands in trade via a big block deal. Sources tell CNBC-TV18 that Bain Capital has offloaded its entire stake in the bank. The shares changed hands at a discount of 0.5% to Monday's closing price. Sticking with the big block deals of the day, shares of Gland Pharma under pressure after 5% equity worth 1,600 crore rupees changed hands. The floor price was set at a discount of over 7% to Monday's closing price. Sources tell us that Nicomac Machinery and RP Advisory Services are the likely sellers. However, the buyers are not known at this stage. Shares of Sterlite Technology surged after its board approved to launch a share sale to institutional investors to raise funds. We learned from sources the company is planning to raise up to 1,000 crore rupees via the share sale. The proposed qualified institutional placement has a floor price of 119 rupees a share. This is a 6% discount to the share's closing price on Monday. Now, India Inc. CEOs have seen a 40% hike in their average salaries in the last 4 years. This as per a survey by Deloitte India. The survey also highlights that every second CEO in India has an annual pay package of over 10 crores. The average annual salary of CEOs stands at over 14 crores in 2024. Rima is standing by with the details. Up and away, Rima. CEO compensation.
You said it right. CEO salaries are booming in India, and I've compiled some of the key takeaways from the Deloitte India Executive Performance and Rewards Survey, and here they go. The average CEO compensation in 2024 in India stands at 13.8 crore. This is a good 15% jump compared to the prior year, and in the prior year, the jump was fairly meager, 6.25%. The average compensation is also up 40% compared to pre-COVID-19 levels, 2021. 1 out of 2 CEOs in India, that's 50% of them, have an average compensation above 10 crore. This compares with 1 out of 3 CEOs in 2020. 3 out of 4 CEOs, that's 75%, earn more than 5 crore. Also, there are 2 types of CEOs, promoter-driven and professional. Now, promoter-driven salaries have risen much faster. Promoter CEOs are paid an average of 16.7 crore in 2024. The reason is that, professional CEOs change more often compared to a promoter CEO who typically has a longer tenure at the company. Also, compensation is now getting more aligned to performance. Now, for example, for a professional CEO, 50% of his overall pay is variable. It's called pay at risk. For a promoter, that number stands at 47%. Also, moving on, CEOs who earn more than 20 crore, right? That's the bulge bracket. CEOs who earn more than 20 crore have doubled in the last 4 years. Promoter CEOs earning more than 20 crore is about 36% of the overall number surveyed, while professional CEOs earning more than 20 crore account for 17% of the overall number which is surveyed. Now, one of the driving factors for the surge in salaries is also the rising equity prices, because 25% of the overall compensation, the target compensation for professional CEOs, is delivered through long-term incentives, which for most companies is basically paid via ESOPs. So as the share price of the companies that they're leading goes up, the value of that ESOP continues to increase. In fact, more and more companies are opting for this ESOP, paying compensation via ESOPs. So 75% of the companies are using share-based incentive, which compares with 63% in 2020. And lastly, there has also been a fair amount of CEO churn. An analysis of BSE 200 companies, which excludes public firms, has revealed a staggering 45% of them changed their CEOs in the past 5 years. 6 out of every 10 new CEOs were promoted internally, that's within the organization, while the balance 4 were external hires.
Well, Rima, many thanks for joining us. CEO compensation up and about. JSW Energy has successfully raised 5,000 crore rupees from a clutch of investors through a qualified institutional placement. Investors included names like Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, GQG Partners, among others. Speaking to CNBC-TV18, the company's CEO said this is the largest fundraise in India's power sector in the last 10 years.
Regarding the QIP, which we recently raised, I think has got a tremendous response. This is the largest fundraise in more than last 10 years in the power sector, and the 3rd largest in the history of power sector in the country. And apart from the response which we got, which is in excess of 3.2 times the response, the participation from the global majors has given us a lot of confidence that the market also sees us as an organization which delivers the promises.
That's JSW Energy. Now, Elon Musk has once again teased about Tesla potentially entering India. While speaking at a forum on the social media platform X, Musk said Tesla entering India will be, and I quote, natural progression for the company. These statements come after reports that Tesla is sending a team to India this month to look for locations to possibly set up a manufacturing plant. According to the FT, the Tesla team will visit Gujarat, Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu. Maruti Suzuki has expanded capacity at its Manesar plant in Haryana by 1 lakh units per year. With this, the total manufacturing capability at Manesar now stands at 9 lakh vehicles per year. The automaker produces 8 models at its Manesar plant, including top sellers like the Brezza SUV. Shares of Exide Industries continued to gain. This after South Korean automobile majors Hyundai Motor Company and Kia Corporation announced a partnership with the Indian battery maker Exide Energy Solutions. Hyundai said the strategic alliance will position the companies as the frontrunners in integrating domestically produced batteries into their future EV models for the Indian market. Exide Energy Solutions said it's setting up its multi-giga lithium-ion battery manufacturing facility at Bengaluru and is in the process of meeting several potential customers for more strategic partnerships. Private weather forecaster SkyMet has predicted an overall normal monsoon in 2024. As per SkyMet, monsoon rains during the June to September period are expected to be 102% of the long period average, which is the average rainfall received over a 50-year period. Cumulative monsoon rains nationwide between 96 to 104% LPA is considered as normal. However, SkyMet has cautioned that states in eastern India, Bihar, Jharkhand, Orissa and West Bengal could receive deficit rainfall.
Arrival of monsoon may not be as we desire. West Coast will be good. It will be rainiest possibility season for West Coast, starting with Kerala and then going across coastal Karnataka, Konkan, Goa, inclusive of Mumbai, should see decent rains, very good rains, rather above normal rains. The northeastern parts and eastern parts. Eastern part means starting with Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal, maybe some parts of Orissa also. They will see a little less than the normal rainfall.
That's the monsoon forecast. Government-backed Open Network for Digital Commerce, or ONDC, has facilitated 50 million transactions since its launch in January last year. Mobility category dominated the platform, with ride-hailing apps like Namma Yatri continuing to form more than 50% of the total monthly orders. Categories like food and beverages, fashion, grocery, home and kitchen electronics, beauty and personal care are the others that contribute to growth. Thampi Koshi, the head of ONDC, says they are targeting 50 million transactions every month by the end of this financial year. Listen in.
Today we have, for example, March, we have about almost 8 million transactions. Can we make it like, five times of that? We are hoping that, by end of the year, we should be able to do, in a month, 50 million. That's, we can always take a stretch target and achieve that. That's what we are trying to push for.
India's coal ministry aims to set up 20 new mines by the end of the year. Sources tell CNBC-TV18 the ministry wants to expand its coal output by 100 million tons through these 20 mines. This is an effort to ensure that coal is available to meet the country's rising power demand and reduce imports. Rachna is standing by with more on the ministry's plans. Rachna.
Well, yes, the coal ministry is taking a significant step towards enhancing country's thermal capacity by adding about 100 million tons by the end of this year. This will be in form of making 20 new mines operational. Of these 20, sources have told CNBC-TV18 that 10 will be allotted to Coal India, whereas 10 have been earmarked for private companies. Well, this comes at a time when we're expecting a very hot summer. So this move is, of course, aimed at increasing, to meet the increasing power demand that's expected to come our way this summer season. Now, sources also tell us that these mines are located across the states of Jharkhand, Odisha, West Bengal, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. This comes at a time when India's thermal capacity is at about 260 gigawatts as of February 2024. But analysts now expect that with this move, it could reach up to 300 gigawatt by the end of this year. Now, the peak power demand that is expected this year in the summer season is at about 384 gigawatt, up from last year's 240, which is a significant jump. And hence, this move to significantly increase the coal output and reduce the dependence on imports.
All right, Rachna, appreciate you joining us. The U.S. government is planning to grant more than $6 billion as subsidy to Samsung to expand its chip production facility in Texas. As per a report by Reuters, the subsidy, which could be announced next week, will go towards construction of 4 facilities. This includes a $17 billion chip-making plant that Samsung had announced in 2021. As part of the deal, Samsung will also double its investment in the U.S. to over $44 billion. In fact, remember, just yesterday, the US granted a $6.6 billion subsidy to Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company to make the world's most advanced chips in Arizona by 2030. Time for us to head to a short break, but up next, the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi Alliance announces the seat-sharing arrangement for the upcoming Lok Sabha polls after weeks of negotiations. That and more when we return. The Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi Alliance has announced their seat-sharing arrangement for the upcoming Lok Sabha polls. The Shiv Sena UBT will contest 21 of the 48 seats in the state. The Congress will contest 17 seats. The remaining 10 have been allocated to the Sharad Pawar faction of the NCP. Santya joins us now with the details. Santya, seat-sharing talks after a lot of wrangling finally done.
The opposing alliance in Maharashtra, the Maha Vikas Aghadi Alliance, has finally reached to an agreement of 21, 10, 17 regarding the seat-sharing formula. UBT Shiv Sena is going to contest elections on 21 seats, NCP SP on 10 seats and Congress on 17 seats. There are total 48 seats in Maharashtra, 48 Lok Sabha seats in Maharashtra. The controversial seats were Sangli, Bhiwandi and Mumbai South Central. Congress was taking claim on all these three seats. The controversy started when Uddhav Thackeray announced his candidate from Sangli seat. Sharad Pawar staked claim on Bhiwandi seat and Congress didn't even get the Mumbai South Central seat because once again Uddhav Thackeray announced his candidate from that seat. Now it seems like that Congress had to compromise on all these three seats, but Congress finally got two Mumbai seats. One is Mumbai North and the second one is Mumbai North Central. Though the Congress is yet to finalize a candidate on this particular seat. The controversy has finally laid to rest is what the MVA claimed in a joint press conference today. Now in the last 2 years, two key regional parties of Maharashtra witnessed a split. It was NCP and Shiv Sena. Now there are two important seats which are going to be a matter of prestige for both the parties. First one is Baramati, where it will be a fight of Pawar versus Pawar. Supriya Sule is going to contest elections on NCP SP's ticket. And she will contest against her own sister-in-law, Ajit Pawar's wife, who is going to contest the elections on Ajit Pawar's NCP's ticket. Similarly, in Kalyan seat, Uddhav Thackeray has fielded Vaishali Darekar and she is going to face Eknath Shinde's son, Dr. Shrikant Shinde, on that particular seat. Now, in this seat-sharing formula, it's all about these three parties, UBT, Shiv Sena, NCP, SP and Congress, because nobody else is a part of it. VBA, Prakash Ambedkar, they were trying to become a part of it, but that did not happen. In fact, Raju Shetty also did not get even a single seat. Now, finally, the MVA leaders in a press conference today said that the matter is settled when it comes to the seat-sharing formula, but the same thing cannot be said about the governing Mahayuti alliance in Maharashtra.
Okay, Santya, many thanks for joining us. Now, Delhi court has extended the judicial custody of Bharat Rashtra Samiti leader K. Kavitas in the Delhi liquor policy case till the 23rd of April. This comes a day after it refused to grant her interim bail, saying that she is actively involved in the alleged money laundering offence. Destruction of evidence and attempting to influence witnesses were also part of the court's argument. Kavitas is the daughter of former Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao. In a letter to the court, Kavitas referred to herself as a victim and alleged that her political reputation was being targeted and privacy being invaded. She also hit out at the BJP and alleged misuse of central agencies. The court refused Kavitas the permission to address them personally and said that she could give her request in written form. A woman in Bengaluru lost 15 lakh rupees and was forced to strip on camera after what is now being called a FedEx scam. This is a scam where fraudsters call the victim and falsely claim that they have a FedEx parcel in their name which contains contraband like drugs. Archana standing by with more on the modus operandi of these fraudsters and how you can protect yourself. Archana, harrowing story from Bengaluru. What do we know about this so-called FedEx scam?
Thank you, Shireen. The quote-unquote FedEx scam has become a nightmare for Bengaluru and parts of Tamil Nadu. Let's talk about this chilling piece of news coming in from Bengaluru, where a woman was made to strip on camera by scamsters who even conned her of 15 lakh rupees. The details are as follows. According to a Times of India report, it all started on April 3rd when the victim, who's a lawyer, got a call from someone who claimed to be a police officer and then transferred the phone to somebody who disguised himself as a CBI officer. During the call, the victim was told that a parcel in her name had been caught with MDMA, which is a banned synthetic drug. She was further told that there was a case of human trafficking, money laundering and identity theft against her. This obviously made her panic. The victim's anxiety is also peaked at this point in time, and that was at this point in time she was asked to download Skype. And then she was made to switch on her camera and take an oath that she would not disclose this information to anyone until the investigation was complete. The scamsters reportedly told her that she had to strip for a narcotics test, and then they threatened to release her video on dark web. She was threatened that if she did not follow their instructions, she and her family members would be arrested or even killed. That's not all. Over the course of the call, she was made to transfer 15 lakh rupees to other accounts. This call lasted for almost 36 hours. FedEx, which is a courier company, has issued a statement saying that they never ask any customers for their personal details, and if any individual receives any suspicious phone calls or messages, they're advised not to provide their personal information. Instead, they should immediately contact the local law enforcement authorities or report to the cybercrime department. This is not the first time, Shireen, that such a case has become a headline. In January this year, a 70-year-old journalist in Bengaluru city allegedly lost 1 crore 20 lakh rupees in the same quote-unquote FedEx scam. In Tamil Nadu as well, the police claimed last month that at least 390 people in the state have become victims of this scam in the past 2 months. We also urge our viewers to exercise caution while answering such unknown numbers. Back to you.
Absolutely. Be very, very careful of unknown numbers that call you and solicit personal information, especially information pertaining to your bank accounts, etc. Be very, very careful. With that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Business 360. But before we go, parts of Mexico, the US and Canada plunged into darkness as the world witnessed its first total solar eclipse in 7 years. The phenomena lasted for about 4.5 minutes. Mexico was the first to experience the eclipse. We leave you with some stunning images of the rare celestial event.